on today's episode of Cyberbrats.
Last night's thunderstorm was a disaster for the community. It left a trail of destruction. We have flooded roads, destroyed homes, and downed trees have leveled power lines. This storm has left a mess of things everywhere. Perhaps mankind should consider moving civilization to the moon.
Alex, did you say the moon? But I am terrified of flying.
Are you terrified of dying on a planet plagued with vicious storms?
Well, according to this latest report, this massive power outage knocked out power to millions of customers in the region. Boy, are we lucky at this station with our emergency generators. Electricity at my house is still intact. What about you guys? I am afraid to touch the light switch.
That disaster shook my fragile nerves. My home is okay, but I'm concerned about my Uncle Charlie. His little neighborhood store is without power as we speak. Hopefully the electric company will restore it today. Charlie is expecting a big shipment of frozen goods. Someone from the call center assured him the power will be restored sometime today.
It's a mess out there, Chuck. That delivery will take some time. This storm has caused one of the largest outages in history. It unleashed hail, lightning, and wind gusts like we've never seen before. Oh, we have a live chat here.
Uncle Charlie didn't like the attitude of that customer service representative. He said the person called him with a bully-like behavior, quite demanding.
I always try to steer away from confrontation.
Dealing with sour attitudes is the fact of life for a serious businessman like myself.
Many residents are complaining about an uptick in utility scams.
That is a new low for those blasted con artists.
Scammers are calling consumers, pretending to work for the electric company. They are tricking people into paying an upfront fee to have electric services turned back on. Many of these complaints are from small business owners.
Charlie received a call from the power company demanding $700 to accelerate the waiting period. And guess what he did? He paid for it. I hope he wasn't scammed.
Chuck, that doesn't sound good. A power company will not request an upfront fee to reconnect you after a natural disaster. Chuck, what was your uncle's method of payment?
Uncle Charlie said he paid over the phone with a credit card.
Scams following a pandemic or natural disaster are nothing new, my friends. Thugs posing as subcontractors usually take advantage of victims at their lowest. Chuck, I believe your uncle is a victim of a utility scam. His business was specifically targeted by someone or a group who know he needs assistance.
Uncle Charlie knows nothing about this scam. I better reach out to him before the scammer does it again. This is war. The cyber attackers declared war on honest citizens. I better call Uncle Charlie. Please excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. I have to go. Darn scammers. Do they think they can get away with this? Our money belongs to us. Their aggression must be met with force. This is a job for the military to restore peace and prosperity.
That is overdoing it, Alex. Suppose small business owners can learn some tips to avoid being swindled. Fraudsters can target individuals and businesses. They are highly trained and organized. Now, their methods can be run by individuals, groups, and even by a foreign government.
But what is their motivation for greed?
Motivations include political, military, and even economic gain. When I was a computer con man, I had a strategy for looking for certain victims.
Do you think I forgot about your past as a cold-blooded hacker? You ought to be ashamed of yourself, stealing all that money from hard-working consumers.
But CyberSly is paying restitution to his victims.
But what about my restitution?
Alex, what restitution? I never stole a red cent from you.
Do I look like I was born yesterday?
More like 100 years ago.
Come back! I just got off the phone with my Uncle Charlie. He can't believe he was duped of $700 by a scammer. I urge him to report this fraud to his credit card company.
Poor guy. I wonder how and why he was targeted. Scammers chase headlines. You know, like bees attracted to honey. They select targets very carefully. Now, after a natural disaster, a small business like Uncle Charlie's is no exception. Thieves begin by researching websites and identifying key information, such as how a business is structured, where it is located, and if there are any partners. We have an unidentified caller, but I am afraid to answer it. Unidentified caller, you are on the air. We all know that voice. Jester Jensen, are you responsible for the massive utility fraud going on in this area? How can I be the bad guy when gullible people are sharing their credit card numbers with the greatest entrepreneur of all time?
Jester Jensen, how dare you take advantage of my uncle? I know it was you. You are no entrepreneur. You are arrogant with a perverse heart.
Oh, I can't stand this slander. My feelings are so hurt. I won't be able to sleep soundly tonight.
Jester Jensen, a real entrepreneur makes his own money. Take it from me. I once owned an ice cream corporation.
Alex, your name does not belong in the same sentence as an entrepreneur. You were hacked and lost everything. Do you remember that day when you gave the pink slips to your employees? You think you were a successful businessman and your dreams, moron.
Young man, how dare you insult me on the air? CyberSly, I can't take this anymore. Can we not shut him off?
I know why. I know why CyberSly is dragging his feet. He's working with the FBI. They are trying to track my whereabouts. The longer this conversation continues, the better chances they have at pinpointing my exact location.
That's right. Keep talking, you clown.
I would like to, but I have to go and swindle some more people. After all, there are so many people out there with no electricity, and I have the perfect pitch with those who have no brain cells. Have a rotten day, losers. Bye! Ladies and gentlemen, you just heard how fugitive Jester Jensen is up to his old games, practicing deceit in the aftermath of a power outage to take your money. Watch out for these phone calls, as he is pretending to be someone working with the electric company. Now, following a natural disaster like the one we just had, a utility company is not going to call you and ask you for a fee to restore power. If you get a call like that, just hang up.
I wonder exactly how this scumbag zeroed in on my uncle. Thugs use online research. That's how I became a victim of fraud.
Cyber attackers begin by researching websites and identifying key information, such as how a business is structured, where it is located, and any person associated with it. Now, they may find a listed directory or stumble upon an employee phone list someone mistakenly posted on the internet.
I consider such a person an incompetent employee. Termination is warranted.
Anyway, computer criminals make great efforts to identify employees, management, and their responsibilities. They read social media profiles and look for data that can be used against a person. Now, this diligent research helps them to identify individuals or businesses to target. To put it simply, scammers harvest all the data they can find in social media, messaging on public forums, photos shared, and information about personal hobbies is all there for the taking.
The online world is indeed a wicked, cruel place. Barbaric in nature, if you ask me. Our society is on the brink of extinction. Alex, please. Now let's not startle our viewers with more bad news. We just had one of the worst storms in history. Summer storm strikes, and afterwards, utility scammers strike. You can't have one darn thing without the other. Acts of nature are unavoidable. But if we can be mindful of scams, that will make life a lot easier for us.
One of the ways to be safe is knowing the scammer's tactics. Look at how a spear phishing attack is implemented. Fraudsters customize a specific phishing email for a certain target. Now, since they know who you are from research, they make an email sound very convincing. This message appears to be coming from someone you know, like Chuck here, for an example. And when you reply to it, you think you are replying to him, but you are sending a sensitive document to a con artist.
We know these attacks include tricking you into opening an infected email attachment.
If you click it, you will get sick. Does anyone here recall why a scammer will do something like that?
I know. The scammer is bored and doesn't have a life. Immaturity at the highest degree.
But their primary objective is to take you to a website so they can hack your computer. This explains why they request their targets to enable macros or click a bad link. Now, once these bad actors have access to your computer, they can steal all your data or use your computer as a launching point to hack other systems in your organization.
It's common sense, people. Use your technology responsibly. Limit the stuff that you share. Make it difficult for online criminals to research and target you. Don't let them do to you what they did to me, because I cried like a baby for a whole week, and then my wife left me. Then the courts awarded her half of my possessions, including the recliner with the built-in massage. How dare she treat a handicapped man like that? How dare her? I'll never forgive her. Let's focus on business scams. Cyber Sly, my uncle, small business, was affected by an online scam. Joshua Jensen called him. What do you make of that?
A scam is a scam, regardless if it's by phone or online. Just be on the lookout for these signs of a target attack. 1. Any phone calls or messages that create a sense of tremendous urgency. 2. Requesting for you to bypass or ignore your employer's operating or security procedures. 3. The from address in their email is work related, but the reply to address is someone's email attachment.
I bet $1. I should say I predict $1. The next safety tip will warn viewers about being careful with email attachments. The ones that ask you to enable macros. We heard that one 100 times.
Alex, what attachment should you open?
I don't know. You tell me. You are the cybersecurity expert, making more money than us.
We open attachments we are expecting from trusted senders.
Well, I was going to say that before you rudely jumped in.
Remember to always ask yourself, is the tone of the message odd or suspicious? Number 1, is the signature incorrect? Number 2, are the words used differently in some way? 3, are you being addressed by a name your boss would never call you? Now these can be the ingredients of a scam. So exercise vigilance and stop these scammers in their tracks.
No thanks to that hideous scammer, the electric company restored Uncle Charlie's electricity for his business. The real utility people didn't require a payment to get the power back on. This was a costly experience for my uncle. He lost $700 to a swindler. Now, whether this is a natural disaster or pandemic in your neighborhood, I hope you don't fall for this deceit. Now, during these events, it is good to check on elderly relatives in your neighborhood who might need guidance during these challenging times. Even in good weather, you have to be cautious of criminals like Jester Jensen. Now, while we are on the topic of Jester Jensen, this radio station is offering a $10,000 reward for information leading to the apprehension and arrest of that scumbag. If anyone sees or hears of him, they can call
Alex,
where do you think you're going? To go look for Jester Jensen. With $10,000, I can buy all the recliners that I want. Jester Jensen, I'm coming for you! Alex, the reward is not for capturing him, it's for information. Never mind.
My friends, what time is it? It is time for Slide's Corner. You learned about targeted business attacks. Now it is time to put your knowledge to the test. You are employed by a staffing agency that works with many short-term and long-term workers. What is the usual method a scammer may use to launch a targeted attack against you and your company? A. The scammer will send a generic phishing email to everyone in the organization, hoping someone opens the infected attachment. B. The scammer modifies the hardware used in your computer to track and record all of your online activities. C. The scammer will research and learn the names of your coworkers and pretend to be someone you know within the organization to get what they want. Choose wisely. The answer is C. Scammers will thoroughly research everything they can about you before making their move. Mitch receives an important email from a coworker on his work phone. It instructs him to let a visitor into the facility through a locked entrance. Now this request seems strange because it bypasses security procedures. All visitors are required to sign in at the front desk. How should Mitch respond? A. He should let the visitor in and escort the subject around the building to be sure nothing bad happens. B. He should unlock the door. The text message authorizes entry, and this is an emergency. C. He should reply to the text message and remind the coworker that they must check in all visitors at the front desk. Choose wisely. Best answer is C. If you know your policy, share this with the coworker. Ensure the visitors sign in according to your employer's policy. Be on alert and always be observant of vendors and visitors outside of checkpoints. You may be preventing a scam at work. Until next time, my friends, stay safe and stay secure. Cyber Sly signing out. Bye!